Well, we're getting ready to head out on the Fat Tire e-bike today, but I got a question for you. When you guys are out e-biking, do you change gears on your e-bike? Do you think you should change gears on your e-bike? How do you go about doing that? Is there any real benefit to it? Well, that's what we're going to visit about a little bit today. So you might just find out there's enough benefit and it's easy enough that it's a worthwhile thing to do. So stick around. Well, hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, like I say, we're going to talk. Look at that, the leaves are falling. We're going to talk a little bit about how and why to shift your gears on your e-bike. So, what brought me to want to do, ooh, boy, we are getting some real fall weather in here. What brought me to wanting to do this? Well, this is actually my first ride in over a week. I've not been able to ride post-surgery. As I get older, well, I mean, as I gain more and more wisdom through vast experience, yeah, that's the phrase I'm looking for. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Surgeries are tougher and tougher on me. So what, should have been a couple of days, I'm good to go. I'm a week. My arm is still swelled up from the anesthesia, and it is what it is, but this too shall pass. But anyway, I was watching videos, and I watched a video from an e-biker that said that he was having, it was difficult to shift on, well, no, not that it was difficult, but he had to really get used to shifting on a mid-drive e-bike. It was one of the very first ones that he rode. And that kind of surprised me. It kind of shocked me a little bit that somebody had some issue with that. And so Michelle and I was kind of just chatting about it at dinner time that night. She says, you really ought to do a video on that, because I didn't have no idea how to shift. And I said, well, it's just like shifting a regular bike. And she said, yeah, okay, your point. And I thought about it. I said, you're right. I think there's a lot of you guys out there that are just like Michelle and I, don't have any experience to fall back on regular bikes. And a lot of trash from the road here. And so maybe you don't know how to shift. And honestly, a hub drive motor will kind of cover your mistakes there, but you have a price to pay when you're making mistakes anyway. So, and I have a little bit of an advantage in that area because I rode a lot of motorcycles. That was a lot of shifting gears there. Off-road tractors and that type of thing, there's shifting going on there. Straight drive, standard vehicles, I drove a lot of them. There's shifting there. But the one really big advantage that I had was shortly after I bought this bike here, and I rode it. I shifted gears and everything on it, but shortly after I bought it, it wasn't too long before I said, hey, I kind of like to upgrade this thing a little bit here. And so I did, and to me, the upgrade was to buy a mid-drive kit and put it on a regular bike. So I went out and I bought a Trek Marlin 7, and that was the bike that I was going to put the mid-drive on. Well, before I put everything on, I took it out and rode it a few times, and boy, as I'd shift gears, clunk, clunk, it was kind of sloppy. And so I thought, I started saying, hey, I got to figure out how to do this. So, I started figuring out how to do it, what I'm supposed to be doing. So, without further ado, let's get into how we should be shifting. I think we'll just kind of ease down this way here. Yeah, good. There was no irrigation pipe running across there in the high weeds. If I'm going to shift this bike, I'm going to go ahead and start pedaling on here a little bit. Now, I want to just the act of shifting it, you know, I'm going to just go ahead and shift it up. But just prior to doing that, I want to ease off my pedaling just a little bit. I don't want to be putting a lot of torque onto the pedals. I'm going to cut this pedal assist out, put a lot of torque on. You hear that? You hear that? All right, that's because I'm putting a lot of torque onto the pedals there. I'm going to go ahead and shift that back down. Now I'm still not using my motor. I'm going to make these shifts again properly. And see, you don't hear that. You don't hear that. It's coming through there much smoother that way. Well, the reason that is because I've backed off the torque a little bit. Ghost pedaling is a pretty common term. Let's make sure there's no irrigation pipe hanging in the weeds here too. You know, it wouldn't be bad to hit one of them if you hit it straight across, but boy, you hit it at about a 30-degree angle. That wouldn't be good. You back off the torque on the chain just a little bit, and then you make your shift, and then you catch back up to that torque a little bit. Well, why would that be important? Why don't we just leave it in one gear, Blaine? Well, on a hub drive motor, what's going on is your legs are kind of helping that motor. In a mid-drive motor, the motor helps your legs. In a hub drive motor, your legs help the motor. If I'm going to come up this hill right here in, let's say, 7th gear, this is a 7-speed bike right here, I'm going to have a heck of a time trying to help my motor do anything, which means my motor is going to have to be doing the vast majority of the work. Well, I don't care. Let my motor do the work. Well, yeah, but when you get out for a longer ride, you do care, because you start losing your range very quickly that way. You'll lose battery like crazy when you're overworking your motor, whether it's a hub drive or a mid drive. The more you're working it, the more you're going to, cut down on your range that you're going to get. How about downshifting here? If I'm coming up an easy hill like this, then when I downshift, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to back off a little bit, keep my pedals moving, back off a little bit, but then once the shift has been made, I'm going to go ahead and catch back up to that torque so that I'm actually helping my motor, so that I'm helping my range out a little bit. Now, if we're going to go around on the throttle all day, that means the motor is going to be doing all the work, and you're going to get the minimum range you're going to get out of your bike. And I've never really been all that interested in doing that. But I'm going to speak about the throttle for just a second here. That's because I did speak to somebody one time about this, and they were shifting gears while using just the throttle. Well, I want you to see something here. When I see that chain, it is not moving. When you're not pedaling your bike, if I were to go through here and just throttle this and then start shifting gears, I'm shifting gears like crazy here. Nothing has happened on the back derailleur, except for that derailleur is way out of line. I'm up in actually 7th gear, and my actual chain is still in 1st gear. So what's going to happen when I start to turn these pedals, that thing's going to try and make that jump all at one time. And as it does that, I'm not going to do it because I really don't want to break my chain. So I've shifted it back down up here, but you can see it's going to stay in gear here when we go ahead and turn things around and get that little bit of weeds out of there. pull that out of there. Had some leaves or something in there. So you definitely don't want to do that. And this was somebody, they actually had a hub drive bike, and they kept popping the chain. And that's what it was for. They didn't really realize those gears are not changing without your pedals moving. And so, ooh, let's turn that thing back down. Had it way up there. So that's the where, when, why, and how that I'm going to do my shifting on my e-bike. So let's kind of conclude this out. Is when I make my shifts, whether I'm going up or down, straight across, on level, I want to back off of pushing a lot of torque and then catch back up to where I'm actually pedaling. I want to, ghost pedaling is a pretty common term in the e-bike world. I actually do want to have a ghost pedal going for about a quarter or a half a revolution and then catch back up to the torque. Why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that so I can help my motor out a little bit, make my changes, help my motor out, get better range on my e-bike that way, and put less wear and tear and, you know, on your hub motor. Your hub motor, well, it's pretty tough, so it can handle the wear and tear, but that range, you'll know how to really shift if you run out of battery and have to come home about 8 miles on one of these heavy e-bikes. That's for sure. But so anytime you're shifting, back off the pedaling for just a second. I want to see here. I want to show you real quick this back off the pedaling that I keep talking about. We're going to actually when I say I'm backing off the pedaling, I'm going to shift up right here. See, all I've done was slow down. I've just slowed down and made another shift up. Now I'm going to make a shift down. So I'm not stopping and then going and slamming into it or anything like that. I'm just slowing down to back off of the pressures that's on there. So that's how you're going to do that. Now we're going to have another video that's going to come out for the mid-drive bikes on how to shift them. We get a little bit more detailed on that, but basically it's a very similar idea on that. So hey, if you want to make sure you catch that video, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We really appreciate that. Hit the bell. You'll know when that video drops out here as well. And I think we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up right there on this one. I want to head back and kind of rest for a little bit, and then maybe I'll take out the other bike for a little while, see how it's doing. Like I said, this is my inaugural ride after surgery. So hey, that's going to wrap it up for this one, Internet. Till the next time, Southern E-Biking telling you, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we're out.